The Agniveer scheme has a big history to it, and to realize as to how and why it has come by, we need to go back a few years. And let me take you back to the time when we had just won the Kargil war, and the Kargil Review Committee was constituted to draw some important lessons. A lot of good lessons came up, and Kargil Review Committee recommendations for the first time were implemented in a big way, so as to correct the structure of our armed forces, the training aspects, the operational aspects, the need for surveillance, intelligence, and on so forth. Now, it was a part of this recommendation that the committee felt that our armed forces should have a youthful profile. We were fighting a very tough battle in steep mountains, and while our officers and men did a wonderful job, our whole terrain in the northeast and west is something like that. So there was a need to keep the profile down. They talked of the officer cadre also, and also for the other ranks. There was a group of ministers who were also debating on certain other issues, and even they recommended that there is a need to keep the profile of the armed forces young. While this all happened in 2000 and thereafter, a lot of things were implemented, but this aspect of youthful profile did not get acted on at that time. Later on, we had a standing committee of defense, which was part of the 14th Lok Sabha, and they were looking at the structure of the armed forces as well as the need to, make the profile young. So they also suggested that we could resort to reducing the color service of the other ranks, and in a way that they come as a short service entity, and after a few years they leave the armed forces and they are helped to be laterally inducted in paramilitary forces and other avenues. Again, this was something which was discussed, but it did not really take place. And then we came to the 5th Pay Commission. The 14th Lok Sabha committee also made a recommendation that why can't we have a national pension scheme applicable to the defense. This scheme was established earlier for all government services, but it was not made applicable to the defense. Again, this recommendation was not acted upon. The issue then came to financial aspects, and during the 5th Central Pay Commission, they reviewed the entire authorization of allowances, pays, scales, and other issues. And again, they found that the strength needed to be, the army needed to be right sized, and right size would help us to ensure that our salary pension bills are kept in check. Again, it was suggested that we should try and reduce the color service for the other ranks, but these could not be implemented that time. The 7th Pay Commission also had a similar recommendation, and they had specifically said that we should be able to adjust those who are leaving the army after a short time into the paramilitary or the Central Armed Police Forces. This issue also remained stuck in 2015, and that is where, when the new government came to power in 2019, for the first time they announced the authorization of a CDS, and with the CDS a Department of Military Affairs was created within the MOD. So what I want to say is that it was a scheme which was well thought of. It was a scheme which was born out of a compulsion, It was a scheme which was studied in great details by the Army, Navy, Air Force, as well as the Ministry of Defense. And it is only when the implementation started that there were some issues which kept raising, which are there in the environment. But I am sure that the armed forces, whenever they implement a scheme, they do carry out reviews periodically, and through the reviews, recommendations would and could be made to try and put this whole thing on track and make it effective.